welcome back to Incoming, the weekly video podcast that looks back at the week's historical miniature releases. This is episode 21, which looks back at the releases for week ending the 30th of October 2009. And as always, I'm your host, Neil Shuck. Well, there's been a bit of a scarcity of historical releases this week, so I've actually got a top 9 for you. So let's see what we've got. Well, at number 9, we have one of lots of new releases from Reaper this week. This is sculpted by Tim Prow, and it's of a villager in a pillory being taunted by a couple of townsfolk. An interesting enough subject, but not particularly useful for gaming. One of those things that you kind of hide away in a diorama somewhere on a table at a display game. Number 8, we have the first of 3 releases this week from Company B. This is a T-28A tank in 1/56 scale. One of the numerous tanks that Russia had at the start of the war, so a very useful kit if you're gaming early war Russians. Looks to be a pretty solid piece of work from Company B, this one. Number 7, we have a new release from Stonewall Figures. These are 20mm Japanese infantry. I can't say I'm overly impressed with these, to be honest. Whether or not it's just a case of the pictures aren't of great quality, but the figures, especially for 20mm, don't look particularly well defined and detailed. I'd have expected something better in this particular scale, to be honest. These look a lot more like 15mm figures to me, but good enough in this week to make it to number 7. Number 6, we have the second release this week from Company B. This is an M24 Chaffee, again in 1/56 scale. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything other than this side-on view of the tank to kind of show off what else they've done with it. It looks a decent enough model, but as I say, otherwise a little bit uninspiring. That thing carries over into the next one again from Company B. Number 5, we have the third of their new releases this week. This is a Matilda tank. This particular one is an Australian variant. Again, a decent enough sculpt, and hopefully, if the model is a true rendition of what comes with the kit, it's nice to see that Company B are producing this kit that comes with lots of stowage and extra detailing. Another useful early war tank. Number 4, we have the second release from Reaper Miniatures. Somewhat unusually for Reaper, actually. This is a female gunfighter. It's 28mm. She's called Diamond Sue Dawson, and is sculpted by Todd Harris. Very slim and elegant figure. The thing that really appealed to me about this was the way the pose is. It really gives great intimation of activity. It just seems natural and fluid. So I think that'll be a great addition for all you cowboy lovers out there. So number 3, and we have another vehicle and a new release from JTFM Enterprises. Again in 1/56 scale, and this is their Gis-and-a-half. This looks to be a great rendition of this particular vehicle. Bit of a sucker for this one, as I'm a big Vietnam War fan, and there's not many of these around, so it's nice to get a nice kit in this scale for this particular vehicle. Down to the top 2, and as we said, streets ahead of everything else that have been released this week, and quite difficult to separate these two. At number 2, we have Eureka Miniatures, the latest release from their French Revolutionary War range, and here we have a foot artillery. These come in 28mm scale. They come complete with either a 4-pounder or an 8-pounder gun, and there are 2 different poses available. We have a firing pose and also a loading pose. If you look carefully at the loading pose, you will see there is a special figure on that base, which actually represents the young Napoleon during his artilleryman days, sighting the gun. The first of several planned releases for the French artillery from Eureka, and I think you'll agree this is a really nice addition to what is a really surprisingly good range. I was really pleasantly surprised when this range came out, and it just seems to be getting better and better all the time. Let's go to this week's number 1, and this is a vignette which has just been released by, well, not so much a miniatures company as it's associated with a blog page. The blog page is the Lutheran Journal. This is a limited edition collector's figure sculpted by Gail Gumon. It's available either painted, as you see it here, or unpainted. And it's a miniature based on a painting which depicts the last stand of the 44th Regiment at the Battle of Gandermark in 1842 during the Anglo-Afghan War. Quite an unusual subject, not something you come across every day. And again, while it's of limited war games use, I think it's a really nice vignette, very evocative of its subject matter, and well worth a look, I think. And that's it. I mean, to be honest, a fairly uninspiring week on the whole, I think. Typically, it seems I've missed a lot of interesting releases while I've been off for a couple of weeks. So, unfortunately, not too much to get excited about outside the top 4. Hopefully, next week we'll see a better batch of releases. That said, the top 2 would be in that sort of position in any week of release, I think. Well, before we go, I just want to say a big thank you to Bill of the Miniatures page and Zach of Tabletop Gaming News, without which this podcast simply wouldn't be possible. And don't forget, if you want to see the show again, it's streamed on Wallboots TV. Just visit the site and drop to the bottom of the page. All that's left to say is thank you for watching. Take care till next time. Happy gaming. Bye.